Millionaire hugged a poor girl by mistake, and what she did made him fall in love. Have you ever wondered how a single moment of confusion could change someone's life forever? Imagine this. A man, dressed in a sharp suit and exuding confidence, walks into a bustling train station. He's not just any man. He's William Smith, the CEO of one of the largest hotel chains in the country, worth millions. But today, he's not thinking about boardroom meetings or luxury suites. No, today, his mind is focused on surprising his younger sister with an unexpected hug. What happens next will leave him questioning everything he thought he knew about love, connection, and destiny. Because when William wraps his arms around what he thinks is his sister, he soon realizes it's not her at all. It's a complete stranger. And that stranger, well, she doesn't take kindly to being grabbed out of nowhere. The girl, Leah Perez, isn't your typical damsel in distress kind of character. She's strong-willed, funny, and unimpressed by William's wealth. Or so it seems at first. When their eyes meet after the awkward encounter, sparks fly. But not the romantic kind. At least, not yet. Leah calls him a suit-wearing creep, smacks him with her purse, and walks away, leaving William embarrassed but oddly intrigued. You see, Leah has no idea who she just crossed paths with. To her, he's just another guy in a fancy suit, acting like he owns the place. Meanwhile, William can't shake off the feeling that there was something special about the way she stood up to him, that fiery spirit. It lingers in his mind long after they part ways. Little does either of them know, this accidental hug is only the beginning of a story that will challenge their beliefs, test their limits, and ultimately bring them closer than they ever imagined. As fate would have it, their paths cross again. Not once, but multiple times. Each meeting adds layers to their relationship, turning what started as a clumsy misunderstanding into something neither of them saw coming. From laughing over shared jokes during a movie night to navigating professional tensions when Leah joins William's company as an event planner, their bond grows stronger, despite the odds stacked against them. But here's the thing. Life doesn't make things easy for people like William and Leah. Their worlds couldn't be more different. He's used to power suits, private jets, and making million-dollar decisions. She's figuring out how to pay rent while chasing her dream of becoming an independent event planner. Yet, somehow, these differences don't push them apart. They draw them closer. But let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Society. Because when word gets out that the millionaire CEO might have feelings for an ordinary girl from catering staff, yes, Leah takes up temporary work later. Things get messy. Rumors spread faster than wildfire, fueled by jealous co-workers and nosy outsiders who think they know better. Suddenly, Leah finds herself caught in a whirlwind of judgment, pressure, and impossible choices. Should she step back to protect William's reputation? Or should she fight for what she knows is right, even if it means risking everything? And then there's William, torn between proving himself as a leader and staying true to his heart. His father, Richard Smith, a man who embodies old-school values and corporate perfection, makes it clear that Leah isn't exactly the suitable partner he envisioned for his son. The tension builds, and just when you think things can't get worse, they do. Now here's where the story takes a turn that'll make you question whether fairy tales really exist in real life. Picture this: a high-profile corporate event hosted by Smith Hotels, the kind where champagne flows freely, and deals worth billions are sealed with handshakes. Everything seems perfect until disaster strikes. The lights go out, plunging the venue into chaos. Guests panic, servers scramble, and the entire evening hangs by a thread. Who steps up to save the day? None other than Leia, who's working behind the scenes as part of the catering team, watching her take charge in the darkness, calmly guiding everyone through the crisis. William realizes something profound. Leia isn't just the woman he fell for. She's the kind of person who shines brightest when the world falls apart. In that moment, surrounded by flickering candles and murmurs of admiration, he knows he can't let her go. Not now, not ever. But hold on, because we're far from a happily ever after. Just as William decides to lay all his cards on the table, Leia faces her own internal battles. Can she trust that William's feelings are genuine? Or is he simply caught up in the excitement of rebellion against his father's expectations? And even if she believes him, is love enough to bridge the gap between their vastly different lives? As emotions run high and secrets come to light, the two must confront uncomfortable truths about themselves and each other. The stakes couldn't be higher, and every decision they make brings them closer to either heartbreak or redemption. So, what makes this story so captivating? It's not just the romance or the drama, it's the raw humanity behind it all. William and Leia aren't perfect characters. They're flawed, relatable, and beautifully imperfect. They stumble, they argue, and they second-guess themselves, just like anyone else, trying to navigate the messy terrain of love and ambition. Their journey reminds us that sometimes the most meaningful connections come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's a yellow sweater, a misplaced hug, or a chaotic train station, life has a funny way of bringing people together when they least expect it. And now, here's where I leave you hanging. As the dust settles from the events of that fateful evening, William gathers the courage to do something bold, something that could change both their lives forever. Standing in front of a crowd of guests, microphone in hand, he looks directly at Leia and says, "Well, you'll have to wait for the next part to find out. Will Leia say yes? Will their love conquer all? Or will the weight of reality tear them apart?" Stay tuned, because this is one story you won't want to miss. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the continuation of William and Leia's unforgettable journey. Trust me, you won't regret it. The accidental hug at the train station wasn't just a fleeting moment of embarrassment for William and Leia. It was the spark that ignited something neither of them expected. As days turned into weeks, their paths kept crossing in ways that felt almost fated. First, it was the movie theater, where Leia's sharp wit caught William off guard during a light-hearted rom-com. Then came the cafe afterward, where their conversation flowed so naturally that even Emily and Mel couldn't help but play matchmakers, nudging them closer with every shared laugh. But what started as an amusing series of coincidences quickly grew into something deeper, more complicated, and far riskier than either of them anticipated. Leia wasn't blind to the differences between her world and William's. While he moved through life surrounded by luxury hotels, private jets, and power suits, she was still figuring out how to pay rent after losing yet another job due to one of her infamous creative experiments. Yet, despite these glaring contrasts, there was an undeniable connection, a mix of curiosity, respect, and maybe even attraction that neither could ignore. When William offered her a position at Smith Hotels, Leia hesitated. It wasn't just about working for the man who had once mistaken her for his sister. It was about stepping into a world she didn't belong to, a world where people judged you based on appearances rather than actions. At first, things seemed promising. Leia threw herself into her work, determined to prove she belonged. She organized events with precision, handled crises with calmness, and earned the admiration of colleagues. Well, most of them. Natalie Parker, The marketing director, with a polished smile and a calculating gaze, made no secret of her disdain for Leia. To Natalie, Leia was nothing more than a gold digger who had wormed her way into William's good graces. And when rumors began swirling around the office, fueled by anonymous photos and whispers of inappropriate behavior, Leia found herself trapped in a web of judgment and scrutiny she hadn't asked for. William, meanwhile, was torn. On one hand, he admired Leia's resilience and authenticity, qualities he rarely encountered in his high-stakes corporate life. On the other hand, he couldn't deny the growing tension, not just between them, but within himself. His father, Richard Smith, wasted no time reminding him of the stakes. "This isn't just about you, son," Richard said coldly during one particularly heated confrontation. "It's about the legacy we've built. You think I worked this hard to see it ruined because you fell for someone unsuitable." The word unsuitable stung, not just because of its implication, but because deep down, William knew his father had a point. Leia wasn't part of their world, and trying to make her fit would only hurt them both. But love doesn't always listen to logic. For William, Leia wasn't just a distraction or a fling. She represented everything he'd been missing in his carefully structured life. Her laughter reminded him he didn't have to take himself too seriously. Her boldness challenged him to be better, to dream bigger, and her refusal to be intimidated by his wealth showed him what true strength looked like. Still, the pressure mounted. Every glance exchanged in the hallway, every whispered comment over coffee, felt like a ticking clock counting down to disaster. For Leia, the situation was equally suffocating. She prided herself on being independent, on earning her place through hard work and talent. But now, no matter how many successful events she orchestrated or glowing reviews she received, the shadow of doubt lingered. Was she truly valued for her skills? Or was everyone just waiting for her to slip up? Worse, she couldn't shake the feeling that staying close to William might cost him more than she was worth. His family, his reputation, his future, all of it hung precariously in the balance, and she hated knowing she was the reason. The breaking point came during the planning of the Malibu resort launch, a project Natalie had coveted for years. When William assigned Leia to lead the event, Natalie's jealousy boiled over. Anonymous notes appeared on Leia's desk. Subtle digs in meetings became outright insults. And then came the photo, Leia smiling innocently at her phone, sent directly to Richard Smith, with a note implying impropriety. Leia resigned before anyone could force her out, leaving behind not just the job, but also the hope of ever finding common ground with William. Or so she thought. Unbeknownst to Leia, William wasn't ready to let go. He confronted his father, stood up to Natalie, and fought harder than he ever had for something outside of business. But Leia needed space, time to process everything that had happened. So when fate brought her back into his orbit, months later, at the very event she was supposed to organize, he seized the opportunity. With the lights out and chaos threatening to derail the evening, Leia stepped up, proving once again why she was extraordinary. And as William watched her navigate the crisis with grace and determination, he realized something. Leia wasn't just the woman he loved. She was the person who made him want to be worthy of love. As the guests applauded Leia's heroics, William took the stage, microphone in hand. He thanked her publicly, praised her talents, and then, with his heart pounding, admitted something he'd never dared say aloud. "Livia Perez," he declared, his voice trembling but resolute. "You represent something very special to me, personally." The room fell silent, all eyes shifting between the billionaire CEO and the catering coordinator turned heroine. Leia froze, unsure whether to laugh cry, or run. But before she could react, William dropped to one knee, pulling out a ring box and asking the question that would change their lives forever. And just like that, the story reached its crescendo. Would Leia say yes? Could they overcome the obstacles that had driven them apart? Or was this simply another chapter in a tale destined to end in heartbreak? As the crowd held its breath, the answer hung delicately in the air, suspended like the final note of a symphony. As the reception carried on, the energy in the air was electric. William and Leia danced under the twinkling lights, surrounded by their blended worlds, his polished corporate family and her lively spirited one. It felt surreal, like two universes colliding to create something entirely new. Yet, despite the chaos of mismatched customs and unexpected surprises, there was an undeniable harmony. Even Richard Smith seemed to have found a rhythm, laughing as he attempted salsa steps with Leia's aunt. The man who once doubted Leia now looked at her with a mix of admiration and respect, realizing she wasn't just the girl from the train station anymore. She was family. But just when it seemed everything had fallen perfectly into place, a new twist emerged. Natalie Parker, standing near the microphone again, cleared her throat nervously. Everyone turned to look, curiosity piqued. "I know I already made my toast," she began hesitantly. "But there's something else I need to say." Her voice wavered slightly, but her determination shone through. "Leia, you've inspired me, not just because you stood your ground when things got tough, but because you reminded me that success isn't about climbing over others. It's about lifting people up." She paused, glancing at William. "And William, thank you for showing us all what true leadership looks like. Choosing love and integrity over convenience." The room erupted in applause. But Natalie wasn't finished yet. "Which is why," she continued, pulling out an envelope, "I'm resigning from Smith Hotels. Not because I'm running away, but because I want to start fresh. And Leia, if you ever decide to expand your event planning business, I'd be honored to join your team." Leia blinked in shock, unsure how to respond. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then with a warm smile, she walked over to Natalie and hugged her tightly. "Welcome aboard," she whispered, earning cheers from everyone present. With that heartfelt moment behind them, the night pressed on, filled with laughter, music, and memories. Emily dragged Mark onto the dance floor, insisting he show off his moves, while Mel documented every second on her phone, promising to turn it into a montage later. Even Winston, the mischievous French bulldog, became the star of the party, trotting around with a tiny bow tie slightly askew, collecting treats and affection from guests. As the clock struck midnight, William pulled Leia aside to a quiet corner of the garden. The noise of the celebration faded into the background, leaving only the soft hum of crickets and the gentle glow of fairy lights above them. "So," he said, brushing a strand of hair from her face, "what do you think? Did we pull it off?" Leia laughed softly, leaning into him. "Pull what off? A wedding or a cultural merger?" William grinned. "Both, I guess. But more importantly," he took her hands in his expression turning serious. "Do you regret saying yes?" Leia didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked around at the scene before them, their families mingling seamlessly, their friends laughing together, and even Natalie chatting animatedly with Leia's mom. It was messy, unpredictable, and utterly beautiful. Finally she met William's gaze. "Not for a second," she said firmly. "This might not have been the life I imagined, but it's better, because of you." William smiled, relief washing over him. "Good, because I don't plan on letting you go." anytime soon. He leaned down to kiss her, slow and tender, sealing the promise they'd made earlier that day. When they finally pulled apart, Leia rested her forehead against his. You know, she teased, if anyone had told me 6 months ago that I'd end up marrying a millionaire CEO after he hugged me by mistake, I would have called them crazy. Well, William replied, wrapping his arms around her. Maybe it wasn't such a mistake after all. Sometimes, the best things in life come from moments we never see coming. Leia nodded, snuggling closer. Like hugs at train stations. Huh? They both laughed, the sound blending with the distant music drifting from the reception. As the night drew to a close, the newlyweds stepped outside, hand in hand, to watch the fireworks display William had secretly arranged. Explosions of color lit up the sky, reflecting in Leia's eyes as she leaned her head on his shoulder. You really went all out, didn't you? She murmured. William shrugged, smiling. Only the best for my bride. Besides, I figured if we're going to start our lives together, we might as well do it with a bang. In that moment, surrounded by beauty and love, Leia realized something profound. Life wasn't about avoiding mistakes. It was about embracing them, learning from them, and finding joy in the unexpected. That accidental hug at the train station hadn't just changed her life. It had shown her the power of connection, vulnerability, and trust. And as she stood there with William, watching the final sparks fade into the night, she knew one thing for certain. No matter where their journey took them, they'd face it together, one hug at a time. The story of William and Leia serves as a reminder that destiny often works in mysterious ways. Whether it's a yellow sweater, a misplaced hug, or a chance encounter, the smallest moments can lead to the biggest transformations. Love, resilience, and a little bit of humor can overcome even the greatest obstacles. So, what do you think of their story? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to rate this tale from 0 to 10. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more heartwarming stories like this one. Until next time, keep believing in the magic of unexpected beginnings.